So today we're in southern Utah, and we're going to get some Jasper Agate from an area that I've already prospected and been to. I would say that this is a result of several months worth of map work and prospecting. And you know how prospecting is. It's kind of like fishing. You know, a lot of days you get skunked and you just walk for miles and it doesn't turn into anything. Yesterday afternoon was a little bit like that. I didn't find the agate that I was hoping for, but this has got the composition of what you might find at Holt Canyon in southern Utah. If you know Holt, if you know the parking lot in the vicinity of those hills, canyon in Utah. So if I was to give a parallel, it's there. Matter of fact, we're probably, we're in the same quadrangle as Holt Canyon. And so my guess is this is the same dispersion, which originated at Pinto Peak several 300 million years ago. And flows went all over the place. You'll know the makeup of the Jasper. And so it's a similar makeup, but it also has some makeup of Jasper that I've seen as far as Beaver, Utah, which is to the north on I-15. Today we're just gonna do, I'm just gonna pick up some rocks, and I'm mostly looking for maybe something this big that I could turn into like maybe a large paperweight or an obelisk or something like that, but it's terribly concentrated in this one spot. So without further ado, let's get out there. So as you can see, the ground's kind of full of Jasper, and got a couple varieties here, but get a look at some of this. It's rained since I was here last. It was raining when I showed up in town. As you can see, it's kind of all over. And you have a good variance between something that's hand-sized, or maybe more of a boulder size. And so we're just going to walk through this area. This looks like it's a little bit opalized, got more agate in it, but really it's pretty densely populated in this area. And there are some boulder sized, and stepped on a boulder. This guy's got a little cactus on him. And yeah, some of the boulders are embedded, others are not. And there's a good deal of variance. This probably goes about 80 pounds. There's a good deal of variance in what you'll find. On these boulders. I'll probably shut this down, but I'm not gonna be able to pick any of these guys up. But for frame of reference, this stick is about 16 inches long. This guy's embedded in the ground. You can see the oranges. Let me get a spray gun here. See if the spray gun wants to cooperate. But you're basically just looking at solid jasper or Jasper Agate. And some of the boulders are more plain, and then others have a little bit more character. Obviously these have been sitting here for 100 million years, so anyway, have a look around, see what you can find. It's overcast today, light's not that good, but we'll see. It's sort of difficult to look through the viewfinder. I forgot to bring gloves, so bad on me. Sort of difficult to look through the viewfinder and still keep what I want to in frame, so I apologize if any of this goes out of frame. But and again, the light's not super special today. It's sort of an overcast. See the way it fractures? Very, very similar to Holt. And here's some chalcedony mixed in. It's kind of an interesting sample. Kind of works its way through the whole thing. And I did bring a digging implement, so if we have to dig up something, let me see if I can get that in the viewfinder. So this sort of typifies what we get here. And you have to keep in mind the way it fractures. So if you're going to take a cut, realize what you're probably going to get. Even though this is probably solid, you know, I may not get that much out of this guy, but that's what you get. This camera has a hard time focusing on something that's wet. That doesn't serve us very well today. Anyway, yeah, a reminder that just because you're older, I'm not too proud to admit it, but the very first rock I put in the bag, I cut myself on it, not having gloves. So yeah, jagged rock, sharp. And yeah, you can see like this finger looks a little bigger than this one because it's wrapped and has antiseptic on it. Smart move there. Anyway, let's get back to finding rocks. Let's see what we have here. Excavating made way more difficult when you only have one hand left. Two. Trying to decide if this goes back or not. Let's see if I can get the camera on that. Yeah, I think this might make a nice yard rock. It goes about 20 pounds. It goes all the way through. So I'll take that one. I got a nice GI bag, which I used in college to haul my books around, which I'm gonna use now. Yeah, 25 pounds. What I like about this area is, just like Holt, where rock is fractured and can cut the heck out of you, the rock here is also very yellowish, or at least it can be, which is an attractive color combination for me. I like yellows, so does my wife. And especially the lead part of the boulder or rock. I know sometimes you cut yellow and it turns out to look more like brown, right? But the lead part or the end of the rock is particularly yellow in some cases, which I like. And I may have mentioned it to you, but there's a good amount of chalcedony or agate in this jasper. So, something like this I'll pick up. I got enough smalls, I'd like to think, but part of me is extremely greedy. Even after I have plenty of rocks sitting at home, I'll look at this one and go, oh, look at that. I can make something out of that. So I might have, just like this at home, but I'll pick up anyway. Greedy. Never ends. I have to think small too, because a lot of my stuff is pendants. So something like this works if you're outside. Trying to keep these in the frame. Anything where I get the primary two colors and it looks like a stone that will hold together. Those are going in the bag. some bigger pieces here, but to me this is too dark. I'll let that go. One thing I've noticed is that the clouds are coming in and it's getting windy. There's a 25% chance of rain today, but 2 days ago that became 100% downpour. So here's something that I thought is neat. I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye. You can see the moss on these rocks. Cool rocks for sure. But to me, more interesting because of the moss activity. I can't see through the viewfinder, so let me get that down there. Ain't that cool? That is totally cool. Thought I'd show you that. So this one looks like it might be worth digging up. It's already the right size. It's got a seam going right through the middle of it. However, it is solid. I don't like that seam, but I like the rest of the rock. I could slice this into two maybe. I think this is kind of what I look for. Again, I can't see through the viewfinder, so I don't know if this is even showing the rock. But yeah. I like the character. Looks like a riverbed of color going through there. I've always liked yellow. I don't know why I'm partial to yellow. This goes home. I can just see the comments now. I can't see the rock. Get it in the frame of the picture. I like this because it's got lots of chalcedony in it, agate. And even though it fractures, you got to pay attention to the way it fractures. Because the thing about the Holt Canyon stuff is it will fracture faster than an agate. You could have one on the grinder and it will fracture. So keep in mind the way it's fracturing and know that you're not going to get a perfectly good stone unless you're just really careful cutting it and making something out of it, which is what I'm going to do. You know, I don't think I'm going to be picking up too many smalls. But again, if you know the part of the rock, the mother rock that this came from, then you have a pretty good idea how it's going to fracture. And yeah, this is good. Something like this one here, I think I'd like to dig up this one here. Oh, it's already small. But again, it's the same, probably the same mother parent rock birth these things. They're very close to each other. You know, this is pretty fractured. And even though it's the right color, you know, I know I could slice it, but I've got some slices and smalls that look like that. So that's a stay. So this guy, again, same family. I'm kind of attracted to rocks that have different compositions in them. So if you do something larger and it stays together, a piece like this might be attractive. So I'm gonna hold on to this guy, even though he's not as big as what I'm looking for today. I like the rock, but it's a little bit red. It's an end piece, so you know, it's got the real color to it. But to me, end pieces don't fracture as easy. So I kind of like those better than middle piece sometimes. Like here's a baby one. Like that could be something. I don't like the way it fractures, but yeah, I don't like the fractures in this. I think sorry about the camera. Running out of water. I think we're gonna pack this one and call it, because that 20 or 30 pound one was kind of big and that kind of exceeded my large expectations. I'll just come back. But let's get these into the bag. And call it. Check it out. Turkeys. There's some young ones in that group. That's a lot of young ones there. There's the turkeys. Wild turkeys. How about that? They're very tasty. Do you think they know that they're tasty? Anyway, thought that was pretty cool. So just to summarize what we picked up, see if I can get these in the viewfinder. But and I apologize if the viewfinder doesn't want to focus. But there's one. That's the first one, so we're probably going to turn this into a little kind of like a stand-up-y obelisk guy. All right. But this guy right here is another one that I picked up. Let's get him in the sun. All right, let's back that up a little bit. Let's get some water going on this guy. Hopefully that comes out. However, I like it because of the different types of colors it gives you. Okay, so these are from the same location. Wish it was sunnier, but it's not. And so this is the big one that we picked up on this trip. And as you can see, like the color's really pretty. It goes all the way through. It's really pretty on the other side too, but I kind of like this look. It's like a river of color. Anyway, and then like this big chunking guy, he was from a prior trip, and By the way, this guy, he didn't weigh 22 pounds like I thought he did. He weighs 40 pounds. I put him on the scale. That's a 40-pound rock. And then this guy, he's probably about 45 pounds. I did not weigh him. I like the moss on him, and so I'm just going to feed those moss guys, feed the moss family until I decide to cut this one. We got some huge rock saws at the club that can handle stuff like this. An agate look on parts. Now this is a guy we picked up also during the video. Again, I'm partial to yellow, and now that we have him in the sun, you can kind of see some of the character. So overall, I'm pretty happy with, you know, these guys. So yeah, it's kind of dark, but we picked up this guy too. And then this was from a prior trip. Obviously we can't even see this, it's in the dark. This, oh, by the way, this is kind of curious. See, I wish I could get the sun on this stuff. You see, this is Holt, okay? This is Holt Canyon. And then look at the similarities. See the fracture. If you look at the way it fractures. So just the comparison, the side by side and the way they fracture is very close. And then this guy, let's get him in the sun. You probably remember that because of the moss on it. Let's feed the moss family here. And then it's kind of interesting to me, mostly because it's got a variety of colors. And then, yeah, so those were picked up on the trip. And then again, just to show you what a piece of cut Holt Canyon looks like, right there you go, which I find particularly interesting. However, there's a diversity of hardness, and there's also fracture. See, so yeah, it's not a perfect stone. It's a nice yard rock, but you know, like this one is another one. Let me show you that. See all the fractures? Yeah. And then see the diversity in the colors? You know, it almost resembles petrified wood, but it's not. This is just Holt Canyon. Anyway, thanks for coming along. That's going to wrap this video up. We might go out there again someday, but it probably won't be for me. It'll be for somebody else.